Welcome to Patrick Roberts, Our New Timeline.
Welcome, Dave.
Hey, Pat, how's it going? Good to see everybody
Good.
in chat.
How you doing?
No, fine. Fine, doing well here, healthy, feeling good.
That's good. Yeah. So do you have a near-death experience that happened to you, or?
Well, I just want to put a few pieces together and you can kind of like figure it out or kind of try to go along with it. But
Yeah.
in 1998, I was on a Kawasaki 400 and it was just starting to get dark. It was probably getting close to 7 p.m. And I'm going along this boulevard about, 45, 50 miles an hour. And a Honda Civic pulled in front of me. I mean, just as fast as you could pull in front of somebody. Like he didn't see me whatsoever. And I barely touched the brakes and then hit not exactly dead center, but kind of near his driver's side headlight. And the front of my bike, it bent in, the radiator broke, and I flew, 25 feet or so into the gutter. Just flew. And I opened my eyes and I looked at the bike, and it had been probably at least 15 seconds because there was a pool of gas and a bunch of plastic broken. It looked like it had time to kind of flow out. And I went to the hospital and they checked me out and they said, well, you got a pretty bad bang on your knee and, so forth and everything, but I was in really good shape. So they released me. But this is the funny part. Where I had that accident was a Caro's restaurant, pretty popular restaurant. And I landed almost like on the front door, like right in the curb. And
Wow.
I guess it was about a couple months later, they closed the restaurant, demolished it, put like a 5-foot high chain link fence around the property, let it grow to weeds, and it's been that way ever since, which is pretty weird.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think perhaps there was a bad scene there, and it was just so bad they said, hey, let's just like this whole area right here is going to be shut down. And maybe they did.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make any sense for a Caro's just off the freeway to be shut down like that because it's popular, with the coffee and pies and all that.
Right.
So about, 5 or 6 months later, I joined a new church, and it was a Protestant church, and it was multi-denominational. They took all comers. And on that first service I went to, when we spoke the Lord's Prayer out loud, 90% of the church said debts, and there were a handful of us that said trespasses. And that was like not that long. I'm like, what? That was my first something's not right here moment.
Yeah, I've recently watched a couple different Jesus movies, like even the Gospel of Matthew. Just watched that, and Jesus said debtors and debtors, or debtors, whatever that thing, how they say that. I'm just like, what? So they even got it now wrong on there, or wherever we are, this is the way they always knew it, as debtors, and they never knew it as trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us, and not lead us in temptation, but deliver us from evil.
And there's something I'd like to bring up, a generality. If you remember 2012, that big buildup, the Mayans, end of the era, we're going to shift, all that stuff. Like, I'm to the point now where I don't even know if the Mayans existed. I don't trust any history, but they don't just throw that stuff at us for nothing. It's
right.
like either a cover or a misdirection or an excuse, or, like they always do. It's repeated in the news almost daily. And one thing I remember about 2012 is, and I don't know if you do, but I have a feeling people in chat do. If you remember that buzz about these space objects that were heading toward Earth, and I don't buy any of that
either. What I heard, like you were right around 2012, it was a meteor about the size of a bus.
I remember two objects, one black one, one red one.
Oh, okay.
I remember. Since then, I've realized, oceans are flat and everything, but I just don't know what's going on with all this. I'm just trying to put it together. But I find it curious that either it was an excuse or just by chance that they were saying that these two objects were coming in there, at the end of the era, and then like bam, 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 these years of like Mandela effect shift, and it just seems curious.
Welcome, Chloe. Welcome, Martin, and welcome, Peanut, and welcome, Ancient Trees. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for stopping in. So Dave's telling us about giving us some. Anybody in the chat, if you guys want to answer, give Dave maybe some what you're thinking about, what he's talking about. Myself, I think you're on to something. But I think the fallen ones, the fallen angels, I think they have done this reset many a times. We're watching it right now in live time where they're changing the history right now, and nobody here is seeing it, and the ones that do see it aren't going to be here to tell everybody about this years from now. So then they get away with it once again, and they get away with even stricter laws and or tightening down the slavery of. That's why I feel like every soul should get to know Jesus Christ, because I think that is going to be very important when these end times finally come, and we're seeing them come in. I think we're the lucky ones, actually, because we're able to see the Mandela effect. We're able to see that something supernatural is happening, and maybe not all the Bible is true, but I'm sure there are definitely some true stories in there, and nothing like this has happened since the time of Jesus. Where we're seeing miracles, and we're seeing the evil, but evil is pretty much taken over in the last few years.
I had something come to mind just when you said that, and I think it's kind of profound. If there are these resets and these wipeouts and restarts, who are they going to permit, like the base population? Who are they going to permit to go forward? Probably the most cooperative.
Yeah, of course.
Just, be quiet, do your work, that kind of.
Anybody talking anything about Jesus Christ, it's coming to where we will eventually be jailed for our beliefs. That is coming. We're not too far from that right now.
And to complete that statement, I was just saying, if they do allow these cooperative people to move forward, isn't that the meek inheriting the earth?
Mm-hmm.
From the Bible, the meek shall inherit the earth. That's kind of
right.
Profound.
You're right on. Yeah, exactly. And you can tell these elite. I don't even call them elite anymore. I just call them the fallen ones, because that's what they are. and they know their time is short. That's why the everything is ramping up right now. They're trying to fearmonger the population so bad. You know, I mean, look at all this different shit that's come out, and look at how many times ever since the um, Ohio thing happened, how many different railroads have blown up. You know, I mean, there. This is not just coincidence.
You know, if you think about these evil people or creatures or demons or fallen angels, whatever, however you'd like to talk about them, they seem to be lacking something we have, like either a true soul or the will to, you know, seek God or whatever the case may be. And so they're lacking, but that's not saying they're not at the top of the food chain. Don't you kind of get that vibe? Is that there's like that popular theory of loosh harvesting and they're eating energy or something? There may be something to that.
Well, what I'm kind of getting right now is they are scared to death